Ember has dropped its first new build of 2025, more than 6 months after the last one we got. Last year we got 2 builds and a demo. This new build features several new additions as well as some more promises, commitments, or whatever you want to call it, statements from the man himself. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Let's begin by talking about the new features added in this new build. I'll start by saying this new build is running on Unreal Engine 5.5.3, and that is important because the first feature, as you can see from the clips I'm playing, is nighttime. Not a day-night cycle, mind you, just nighttime. Quite disappointing we didn't get a full day-night cycle since Unreal Engine 5.5 added a day sequence plugin that automatically generates a day-night cycle, and it is also fully networked out of the box, so I don't know why not take advantage of that. Maybe Mark didn't know about it, or maybe he chose not to use it since it's experimental. Maybe we'll get it in a future build. Another thing added was Volumetric Fog. Couple this with the nighttime and the visibility is pretty terrible. I think the purpose of this build was to try and capture those really dark nights we had in Firefall, and also show off dynamic lighting that's brought to you by Lumen. For those who don't know, Lumen is a dynamic global illumination and reflection system released with Unreal Engine 5. It's one of UE5's flagship features alongside Nanite. Some of you may have noticed that already with how terrible this new build runs, and boy, it runs terribly. I'm getting roughly 40 to 50 frames per second in a more crowded areas and around 80 on a high hill away from everything. To give you a bit of perspective, I used to get around 90 to 100 FPS on the older new Copa build during daytime. This is on a system with a 7800X3D, 32 gigs of RAM at 6000 mega transfers per second, and an RTX 3080 10 gig, installed on an NVMe drive. Not bragging at all. So yeah, the performance drop is quite massive. Let's move on to the next addition, which is the plasma cannon, which finally got a model. After almost 6 years, we are no longer firing from a 3D printed white pipe. It's really nice, we finally got a proper model for the plasma cannon. It's quite hard to see though, since it's so dark and your character's rotation is tied to the camera. The next small addition are the knee biters or swarmer enemies, which replaces the white cubes are taking your thumper. This is a nice extra feature which makes the encounter a little more interesting, and the new swarmers being textures and animated is really nice finally. These are some nice features. There are quite a few bugs though, mainly with the enemy AI, which doesn't attack unless you hit it first in some places on the map, and the swarmers also don't move, but those are expected in a development build. Other than that, it's quite hard to see anything including the Tsi-hu and swarmers since it's so damn dark. Alright, now let's move on to the promises / commitments / statements, I don't know how to call them. So the current build is everything I just said. The next build is supposed to add improvements to the mining encounter, resource collection and the map, as well as finalization of the pilot as stated in the email we have received. The email also states that future builds will have spit and polish, new base concepts and finished trailer-rated Crotus, and more importantly, a minimum of 10 to 12 builds in 2025, with M3 features completing 3 to 6 builds. The email also states they've hired an artist to finish M3 features and contractors for the next 10 to 12 builds. Draw whatever conclusions you want from this email, but we've heard similar things before. Anyways, there are going to be 3 chief chats today, with the first one starting the moment this video goes live, hopefully. If there will be any interesting new updates or developments, I'll make a follow-up video covering what was said. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more. I'd just like to remind you that the purpose of these videos is to document the progress of Ember, and if I have any personal opinions to share, I'll make a separate video on that. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.